To move on to affairs around Ukraine and the European Union. Now, before we get into the main story, we just have to say that Ukraine's defense minister, Mikhailo Fedorov, has just announced his resignation. Now, this does come off the back of the prime minister being stepping down as well, and Volodymyr Zelensky announcing that. But this is certainly another fresh move for Zelensky to contend with. We will bring you more updates as that follows. But it comes on a day where Ukraine and the European Union are also joining forces separately in a new drone deal that's aimed at turning Kyiv's battlefield experience into a wider European defense advantage. The European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has signed the agreement with Zelensky in Kyiv today, and it promises to combine Ukraine's drone expertise with Europe's industrial power. The partnership is also designed to create joint production projects and secure manufacturing sites for Ukraine, while helping the EU strengthen its own defenses against Russia. Kyiv says its experience developing the drones during the war has given it unique expertise in modern warfare. Let's get more with Dave Keating, our EU correspondent. Dave, thanks for joining us so much. Just if you can describe what this deal actually entails. Obviously, there's drones, but it also looks ahead to missiles in the future.
Yeah, this is being described as a major step forward in integrating Ukrainian military capabilities with the EU's industrial capacity, which is really important for both sides. This drone partnership is part of a larger defense industrial partnership that involves 1 billion euros of funding being dispersed from the larger 90 billion euro Ukraine loan that's coming from the EU. And it's aiming to have joint production of drones together between the EU and Ukraine by the end of this year. It also would integrate several of the existing partnerships that Ukraine has with individual European countries. It has 9 of those now. 3 of them were just announced at the NATO summit that just took place in Ankara in Turkey. Now, these would be able to both produce aggressive drones, but also drones that are designed to shoot down other drones. But only low to mid-type drones and missiles. But separately, they're also having this partnership to expand to joint production of anti-ballistic missiles by the end of 2028. And that would address some of the gaps in the air defense systems we've seen exploited also in Poland when Russian drones came across the border. So this is actually involving 18 founding members of European defense companies that will be meeting in Brussels in September for a first meeting of this partnership. Those include some European companies like Indra Group, Fincantieri, RSI, Quantum Systems, but also the Ukrainian defense company LLC Skyfall. So I think a lot of eyes will be looking at that first meeting in September to see exactly what these defense companies have in mind and what they're willing to do in terms of investments in the context of this partnership.
In terms of really integrating Ukraine into that European industrialized military complex, I'm just curious what it means for Ukrainian aspirations, also joining the EU possibly, and how they'll look to be Europe's best chance against Russia in terms of being Europe's best army.
Yeah, in Brussels, it's really well known now. People talk a lot about the value add that Ukraine would bring in terms of being one of Europe's strongest military powers now. I mean, they've learned a lot in this war since 2022. Believe it or not, they actually didn't have much drone capacity back then, but they've learned so much in using the drones over the past years that now they're one of the world's leading experts in military drone technology, and they're actually forming these types of partnerships also with countries in the Middle East, Gulf states that are now trying to defend themselves from Iranian drones. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has been visiting those Gulf states and organizing these partnerships with them to try to develop their drone capability. So obviously the EU is also looking to that as well, what kind of value that Ukraine can provide. But they're also keen to stress that the industrial capacity that Europe has is the part of this deal that they're bringing to the table, that they will be able to provide the raw industrial capacity to produce these drones, and Ukraine will be able to provide the expertise both in how they've been building the drones, but also really crucially in how they've been using them and how they've observed the other side using them when they've observed Russian drones.
Absolutely fascinating, Dave. Thank you so much just for that insight. That's Dave Keating there from Brussels, and quite a momentous day in terms of EU Ukrainian partnerships there.